This is Jeremy Sports Network coming to you live. Hey, you guys, we are back for another show on today, and we're going to talk about Game 5. Game 5 is here. You got the Golden State Warriors taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers after, we would say, the debacle in Game 4 that Golden State put out in that appearance. Was Golden State really up to par, or was just Cleveland just that good? Now, it's a lot of questions surfacing on what took place in Game 4, transitioning into Game 5. What's going to be the difference? What's going to happen? And it's a lot of questions that's left to be answered and to be asked. But at the same time, we have to think about, can Golden State really win this series after already being up 3-1 last year? And that's a very, very, very big question that you have to ask right there is, can they pull it off? And me, honestly, I'm thinking that Golden State will seal the deal tonight. Like I said, I've picked Golden State to win this series in 5, and they're moving in that direction to win this series in 5. And so as of right now, they have a good opportunity to seal the deal. ESPN is ranking them, giving them an 85% chance to win this series, and them giving them an 85% chance to win this series is a lot, based upon the simple fact that they need that. They need that. They need to know still that they're the best team, because right now Cleveland has the momentum going into Golden State. Now, Cleveland has not won in Golden State at all throughout this entire playoff run. They haven't. But what's on their side is the simple fact that, hey, we've destroyed Cleveland at home. If you're Golden State, that's what you're thinking. We've destroyed Cleveland at home. We've owned Cleveland in 3 games. We won one in their house. All we have to do is take care of business, and why not take care of business on our own soil? A championship has not been won in Golden State since 1979, I believe. And that was with the Oakland A's in 1979. Or 74. I'm sorry. I believe it was 74. But if you're Golden State, this is a perfect opportunity for you to seal the deal. Everybody is looking for you to, can you close out this series with the momentum that Cleveland had coming after Game 4? Can you close this series out? And it's not, is everybody want to put the onus on Kevin Durant or Steph Curry or this, that, and the third. The onus is on the whole team. It's not about just Draymond. It's not about just Stephen Curry. It's not about Steve Kerr. It's not about none of them as individuals. It's about them as a team. Can they seal this deal as a team? Now, we're going to go through the questions and stuff that has to be answered in reference to this. But one of the things that was brought up mainly after Game 4 was that the $10 million signing bonus that the referees would receive if this go into Game 5. Now, I'm not sure, because everybody want to talk about the 22 fouls that was called in the first quarter. Hey, I'm not sure about anything in reference to contracts dealing with the referees and what have you. But what I do know is things were a little chippy in Game 5. In Game 4, in the beginning of that game as well. Even though Golden State got punched in the mouth, things were a little chippy. But at the same time, you have to understand that, hey, Golden State really just had their foot off the gas, and it was a bad night for them. It didn't have anything to do with referees and the $10 million signing bonus if they go to 5 games or any of that, because at the end of the day, Curry did not play well. Klay Thompson did not play well. And you had Kevin Durant, who still showed up and put over 30, but still players who were supposed to step up for their teams did not step up. Andre Iguodala did not step up at all. So when you don't have those players stepping up, knocking down shots, and a lack of defense that they had on the perimeter, allowing Cleveland to shoot almost 25 threes, then what can you do? What can you do? There's nothing that you could do if you're allowing a team in Cleveland to get out and play the way that they played in game 4. Now, going into game 5, will the defense be better if you're Golden State? Because Golden State, they already talked about controlling the perimeter. If they hold Cleveland to shooting, if they take that number from 24 threes and taking it all the way down to at least giving up 8 or 9 like they did in game 1, game 2, game 3, then they give themselves a perfect chance to close out this series. Now, a lot of questions that everybody's asking, who is the pressure on? Is it more so on Golden State than it is Cleveland? Because Cleveland is down 3-1. But if you ask me, I'm thinking personally that the pressure is on Golden State. Because think about it. You've been here before, up 3-1. You turn around and lose game 5. Then it's 3-2. You turn around and lose game 6. Now it's 3-3 going into a game 7. And you don't want to give Cleveland that momentum because Cleveland has already felt the fact that, hey, we know we could go to game 7 and we could win game 7. They're just that confident. Let's not sleep on Cleveland as if they lack confidence. That's something that Cleveland does not lack at all. They're a great basketball team. They're a championship team. And they have the best player in the NBA, which is LeBron James. He carries himself that way. He plays that way. And guess what? Everybody's going to follow suit and follow LeBron James come game 5. But if you're Steph Curry, if you're Klay Thompson, if you're Draymond Green, guys who've been there before, being up 3-1 in the finals, if you've been there before, you already know what time it is. You know what it takes. And that piece that you added on in Kevin Durant, all he's going to do is continue to do what he's always been doing. Being an efficient scorer, get into the basket, and guess what? They're going to have to make sure they account for Kevin Durant as well as Stephen Curry showing up, as well as Klay Thompson showing up, and as well as Draymond Green showing up. That's just what's going to have to happen. But this is Jeremy Sports Network. If you're tuning in, please drop down in the live chat feed right now. And we're going to talk about, we're going to move on and talk about the X Factor on tonight. Who will be the X Factor tonight? To me, I personally believe that the X Factor is going to be Klay Thompson. I believe Klay is going to have a big time game in this series. No, tonight, not just this series, but tonight. Klay's going to have a big time game on tonight. A very big game. I'm looking for Klay to go for 30. I'm looking for Klay to go for 30, get his 30. I'm looking for Steph to get about 20, 25. And you get your 30 from KD. And guess what? They're playing good defense. Why? Because Draymond Green is going to set the tone. They need Draymond to set the tone tonight. They do. And everybody's thinking about, oh, well, what about, he's close to getting 7 technicals. Well, we already know Draymond could receive 2 techs in this game. And then if he gets 1 more, he's suspended by the league because that'll be 7, right? It's just that easy for Draymond to receive technical fouls. But if you're Draymond, you have to think, what is it that I need to do differently in order for my team to still be great? And if you ask me, I don't think Draymond need to do anything different in order for his team to be great, except for Draymond just knocking down those open shots. If we look at the game, they're allowing Draymond to be wide open and letting Draymond, they're saying, hey, LeBron James is saying, hey, we locked down everybody else. And it's going to leave Draymond Green open to take open shots, whether it's behind the arc, 26-foot jumpers, 18-foot jumpers, whatever the case may be. We're going to leave him wide open, and he's going to have to beat us. So Draymond, beat us. That's what they're saying. And if Draymond could give you that 32 and 9 like he had in last year's series, guess what? This is easy work, easy pickings for the Golden State Warriors, which I feel as though this is going to be great tonight. Like, this is going to be a great game starting at 9 o'clock. I'm really looking forward to seeing these guys take it to a whole nother level on tonight and close out this deal, because You got Steph Curry, who is averaging almost a triple-double with 28, 9, and 9. Then you have KD, who is averaging his 30. Now you got Klay, who has now found a rhythm and has now put himself in position to get going. Hey, it's only going to get better from here on out. If you're the Golden State Warriors, you have to think that, right? Andre Iguodala did not step up and do the necessary things he needed to do in that game. Now, there's one person who I have not talked about yet, and he's right now the best finisher in basketball. The best finisher in basketball, and that's Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, to me, is, finishing with the left hand, soft touch at the rim, finishing with the right hand, floater with the right, floater with the left, turnaround baseline jumper. Whatever it is that Kyrie is asked to do, Kyrie is doing it. He's been doing it the past 2 games. And to me, it is only making Golden State have to defend him. Oh, and if you think about it like this. Okay. I was watching a piece that LeBron and Draymond was a part of on Uninterrupted. And they were a part of this show, and I was listening to what Kevin Durant was saying. Not Kevin Durant, what LeBron James was saying. And LeBron James made some great points. And what LeBron talked about was, I have to allow myself to be able to allow everyone else to step up and be good. It's a reason why LeBron James makes certain plays that he make in games. It's a reason why they acquired some of the certain players that they have on this Cleveland team. They didn't just go out and just get anybody. LeBron said himself, when they talked to LeBron about who they're going to bring on, LeBron say, okay, well, let me see. For one, how was their attitude when they was there at whatever particular franchise they were at? How was their attitude? And then maybe more so was it their the fact that they needed a change of scenery? They may needed a change of scenery. Or maybe they just didn't get along with the coaching. And that's what LeBron said. It has a lot to do with the coaching and the players in certain situations. He said it himself. It's a lot of players in the NBA who don't know how to play basketball. They don't know how to play basketball. And we're not talking about just shooting the ball through the hoop, but we're talking about actual basketball, being coached, learning the things that is necessary in order for you to be great in the game. And within saying that, we're talking about more so of, okay, what is your basketball IQ, right? Talk about basketball IQ, and LeBron has a very, very great basketball IQ. Not only him, but Kevin Durant has a great basketball IQ as well. These players that are playing in the finals have great basketball IQs due to the superstars have great basketball IQs. And the reason why Golden State is so good is because everybody knows their role, right? It's not as if they don't know their role and they don't know what it is that they're doing or what they need to do in order for them to be great. Like they talked about in that piece, the difference from good teams and bad teams is the simple fact that the players that are on the good teams, they know their role. If you're a shooter, like LeBron said, LeBron made a great point in what it was that he was talking about. He said, if you don't need to be dribbling the basketball, then why are you dribbling the basketball? Your job is not to dribble. We pay you to shoot. And so if you take what it is that LeBron just said, when he said that, he was talking about having a high basketball IQ and you doing what you are good at doing. That is it. So the other night, if you go back to game 3, when LeBron deferred to Kyle Korver, it is the reason why he picked Kyle Korver to come to that squad, was to knock down threes. And Kyle Korver was in a perfect position to make the 3, and that's why LeBron passed the ball. And a lot of people want to criticize LeBron for passing the basketball. Well, guess what? If LeBron passed that ball, if he passed the ball, right, and Kyle Korver knocked down that shot, they'll say LeBron is the smartest basketball player of all time. He deferred to Kyle Korver. LeBron shows that he plays team basketball. He's the greatest passer since Magic Johnson. You'll hear all these things being talked about with LeBron. But soon LeBron passes the ball to Kyle Korver and he misses the shot, right? Then we say, oh, well, LeBron should have kept the ball and he should have made that shot himself. Or he should have did this. He should have did that. You can't do that. You can't be one way when something goes good and then be bad the next way. You can't do that. That right there shows your level of attrition when it comes to the game. You're not a student of the game. A student of the game knows, okay, that play LeBron made, that is a good play that LeBron made. That is a high percentage shot. That is a person who they brought in to knock down those shots, who is a great three-point shooter. Kyle Korver is a great three-point shooter. Kyle Korver is no slouch. We're not saying Kyle Korver is the best there is or the best there was, but for what it is that they needed him to do, Kyle Korver is the man for what it is they need him to do. Same thing for J.R. Smith. It's the reason why J.R. got paid that $16.5. It's the reason why he got paid that $16.5. And the reason why he got paid the $16.5 was because of what? Because he knocks down buckets. J.R. Smith goes and get buckets. And that's what I don't understand, is why people want to criticize and down these players when it's not even about that. They're doing what they're supposed to do. That's what you have to understand. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They playing ball. They're just not knocking down. And if you're Cleveland, I'm talking for the Cleveland fans, they just wasn't knocking down those shots in game 1 and game 2. Then we seen in game 3, they knocked down those shots, right? They did everything they were supposed to do, but they still ended up losing the game. But you saw them do everything it was they needed to do. They started to defend Golden State differently, and we saw that pick up from game 4 to game 5. And when they picked up from game 4 to game 5, then we saw them really put clamps on Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. And then when they mixed in Richard Jefferson, having him play a little bit more defense on Kevin Durant, and that allowed them to be more successful on slowing down Kevin Durant. And then they were able to get out in transition and do what it was that they needed to do in order for them to be successful. Now, can all of this correlate and move into game 5? We don't know. It remains to be seen tonight at 9 o'clock. This is Jeremy Sports Network coming to you live. Hey, we just going over the preview of tonight's game. We're going to have an immediate reaction after the game tonight. But we're going to get into some more questions that a lot of people had in reference to this ball game. And another question was, what must each team do differently, right, in order for them to be successful on tonight? Now, what I think that Golden State needs to do differently is, for one, they got to get back to playing Golden State basketball, and that's getting out in transition, getting out in the fast breaks, getting on the offensive side of the boards, dominating the boards, getting out in transition, like I said, and play your level of basketball at a higher rating. Make Cleveland defend. Make Cleveland guard you the whole time you're on the court. Make them run up and down. Don't allow them to slow the game down, and give them an opportunity in order to stay in the game. You don't want to do that if you're the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, if you're the Golden State Warriors. Now, if you're the Cleveland Cavaliers, what you want to do differently, right? What you want to do differently is take from what you did in game 3, take from what you did in game 4, right? You got big time games from Uncle Drew. You got big time game from the King. And what you have to do with that is make sure that guys like Iman Shumpert, J.R. Smith, Kevin Love, make sure Channing Frye, make sure those guys who you have coming off the bench, make sure your bench holds up when LeBron goes and take a rest. You have to make sure your bench can keep up with the Golden State Warriors. Right now, Golden State is outscoring Cleveland when LeBron James comes out the game. It's as if they fall apart without LeBron being on the court in that when they're playing against Golden State. It's like they fall apart. Golden State get off on a quick run a quick 10-point run, 8-point run with LeBron being off the court after Cleveland done built maybe a 12, 14-point lead. And next thing you know, the lead is back down to 4, and LeBron has to come right back in the game, and he's only been on the bench for 3 minutes, not allowing him a chance to rest. So they're basically putting all the onus on LeBron. And we know LeBron is in world-class shape. He's one of the top athletes right now in sports. And the thing is, with LeBron being that guy, guess what? They're going to lean on him heavy. They're going to lean on him heavy. So the thing is, if Cleveland don't knock down shots early, they don't knock down shots early, and you allow a team like Golden State to get off and get that momentum going, and you get off in transition, and you start just balling. If you're Golden State, guess what? It's over. It's over. It's over. It will be tough for Cleveland. If Cleveland don't keep this game close, and what I mean by close is, I'm talking close like how it was in Game 7 of last year, when the teams didn't score for 4 minutes. They went a whole 4 minutes without scoring in the fourth quarter until Kyrie hit the 3. So they went a whole 4 minutes without scoring. That means it was a high level of defense, right, that was being played at that time. Now, if you guys did not go and watch that piece of LeBron talking about when he was in the barbershop, him and Draymond, if you guys did not watch that piece, you definitely missed out on something special. I advise you guys to go to ESPN on YouTube and check out that piece and just listen to it in its entirety. And they talk about everything. You know what it's like, guys, when you're in the barbershop and you're listening to your fellow friends or your barber who's cutting your hair. You know, everybody giving their opinion on certain topics, whether it's who's the greatest athlete, or not only who's the greatest athlete, but who may be the best player in this position or the best team or whatever. You know, the conversations that take place in barbershops. And that's what we had. We had real, true, genuine conversation in the barbershop with LeBron James, Draymond Green, 2 Chainz. You had, it was just a whole lot of guys that was there who had great opinions. Charles Oakley, you know, giving great opinions, and you're getting a whole lot of knowledge that's right there in one particular room. And you had to be a fly on the wall to listen to what was being talked about about sports, in reference to sports. And when you talk about that, you hear the emotions of LeBron when he talked about him leaving Cleveland, and when he came back, one of the main reasons why he came back to Cleveland. He talks about all of that. He talks about that. He talks about how he was hurt by what it was that Dan Gilbert wrote in the letter that he put out, you know, that it was kind of malicious towards him. But LeBron, and he talks about what it was on why he really decided to come back to Cleveland. Like, LeBron talked about all of that. He talked about it all. And then not only that, you have Draymond Green in there, right? Draymond in there. So that lets us know it don't have anything to do with bad blood between Draymond and LeBron James or anything like that. These guys are high profile professionals. They're professionals, and they take the game serious. They play the game serious. And I'm just glad and I'm very appreciative of the fact that I was able to tune in and listen to that, because I received a lot of knowledge in just listening to that one particular piece. And just listening to that one particular piece, I received a whole lot of knowledge of the game. Not just the game, but just how smart LeBron is when he watches a basketball game, right? LeBron sees what you're doing defensively. He talked about watching a D2 school, and he didn't give the name or whatever, but he said that D2 school ran flex for 45 straight minutes. The whole game, the game in its entirety, they ran flex the whole game. And it's amazing that you have an athlete who is at the top right here, LeBron right here, who sits back and watch D2 schools on ESPN2 or ESPNU play basketball, and he's watching it, and he's watching it with the level of, okay, what are they doing defensively? How is it that they're stopping this particular team, or what it is that this coach has drawn up, and what it is that he could see on the floor that could be done differently? That's when he is in basketball mode 24/8. And if any of you NBA players out there are tuning in and listening and watching, guess what? You have to study film. You can't be great if you don't study film at all, period. In any sport that you do. Any sport that you do, if you don't study film, you'll never be great. Tom Brady, to me, is one of perhaps the greatest quarterback of all time. Right? And I could put Peyton, somewhere around that 3 mark. But right now, to me, from what it is that I've seen throughout my entire life of living, is Tom Brady being the greatest quarterback I've ever seen, period. And the reason why he's that great, because he studies. He studied film. He watched film. And then we can even take that into another sport. We could transition it into boxing. I love boxing. As you can see behind me, I love boxing. I cover sports, right? I cover boxing. When I watch boxing, no fighter can tell me that they will always and continue to be great if they don't watch film on other fighters. Right? Now, you can do that when you're in the amateurs and stuff like that. You really don't really watch film on whoever it is you may be facing. But if you're really good and you're pushing on the pinnacle of being great, you go back and watch film. You go back and see what it is that their tendencies are. What is it that I need to do different in order to win? I'm going to talk about this later on today when I do a show on later on. I'm going to talk about the Andre Ward versus Sergey Kovalev second rematch, right? And I'm going to talk about how I feel as though Andre Ward is going to be very dominant because of two certain things. It's two things that Andre Ward, that I know that has done what he has done in order for him to be successful. And the same things goes with basketball. Kobe Bean Bryant, to me, my favorite basketball player of all time. Kobe Bryant, right? Kobe goes and studies. He spent more time studying and watching film than he did in the gym shooting. Why? Because his basketball IQ is on a whole nother level than everybody else. Kobe anticipated things before everybody else did. Kobe saw this happen before you saw this happen. That's how great Kobe is. That's how great LeBron is. And other players who consider themselves great, like Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant. And another thing, what everybody was talking about was the exchange between Kevin Durant and LeBron James. People got to understand that Kevin Durant and LeBron James they have very much respect for each other. Like you've seen in that, if you continue watching the game, and right after they had, got into a little discussion, a heated discussion. I ain't gonna say that they were arguing or amongst each other or fighting amongst each other or anything like that. I'm not gonna say anything like that because I don't know. I was not there. I was not standing there listening to what they were saying, but I did see them shake each other's hand right afterwards. That means there's a level of respect there, right? So not only did they shake each other's hands, but guess what? People forget that Kevin Durant used to work out with LeBron in the offseason. LeBron never looked down on Kevin Durant. He always looked at Kevin Durant as he was equal. A lot of people say, well, I was watching today on, I believe it was First Take, and they was talking about the passing of the torch. The passing of the torch, absolutely. I believe LeBron James know that Kevin Durant is right there on the pinnacle of becoming the best basketball player in the NBA. I believe LeBron James knows that. But that's not saying that LeBron is going to give up the throne for Kevin Durant at that time. No, this is the NBA Finals. You want them to be very competitive. You want to see the competitive juices flowing. You want to see them get into it. You want to see the emotions of the game. That's what makes this game great. And tonight, we don't want the referees to be able to control the emotions of this game, because it's going to be very high emotions, very high emotions. And I'm just happy at the simple fact that this is going to be a hell of a basketball game, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen. I can't. And right now, like I said, the pressure is on Golden State to close out. I don't believe there's any pressure on Cleveland, given the fact that they won one game. But I still think they know that they've been here before. And they're going to do everything it is that they feel as though they need to do in order to win. But if Golden State loses, the pressure continues to build. The pressure continues to build. Now, one more question I'm going to ask before I end the show is, if Golden State was to win tonight, who will be the MVP? Now, I said in my last show that I did discussing before Game 4 was I picked Steph Curry to win the MVP because he was averaging 28.99, 28 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, with I think about 2 steals on top of that per game in the finals. And that's who I had to win the MVP. But then Steph did not show up in Game 4. But the person who's been the most consistent, right? The person who's been the most consistent is Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant has been the most consistent throughout the entirety of the playoffs. And with Kevin Durant being that consistent, guess what? He was able to knock down that big shot in a big moment in Game 3 to take them up 3-0 with 45 seconds to go in the game. So he has already stepped up to the challenge and has proven himself mightily. But will he do it tonight? Those questions are what's remaining when it comes to Golden State, who's going to win MVP. And I believe, hands down, after what I've seen in Game 4 and the consistency through its entirety of the NBA Finals, is Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant right now, him leaving OKC, joining the Oakland Golden State Warriors from the Bay Area, leaving OKC to come over there to become Finals MVP and win a championship. You can't fault that man for that. You can't. You can't help but be happy of what it is that we're witnessing right now. And if you're Golden State, you have to think, guess what? Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. And who was the one saying all that? The one who they're going to defeat tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jeremy Sports Network coming to you live. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Jeremy_sports and follow me on Facebook at Jeremy Sports Network. Please, because there's a lot of content that's on that page. Make sure you tune in, like, and subscribe. Share this video on tonight. It is going down. This is Jeremy Sports Network signing out. Peace.